Hey everybody, today we're doing a full fish room tour going over every single tank in the fish room. I figured now would be a good time to do that because we are expanding, getting rid of this couch here and adding another rack. At least 15 tanks, maybe more. We're at 80 tanks right now and obviously that's not enough, so we need to add more. If you do want to support the channel, I do have a website, fishboyusa.com. I sell a lot of the fish I'm breeding here in the fish room, plants, driftwood, and aquarium rock. So if you're in the continental US, check that out. And before we get looking at the fish, let me briefly talk about the build of the fish room and the filtration for the tanks. I'm running one Gemco linear air piston pump, and that's supplying air to all the tanks that are running either a sponge filter or a matin filter. And all these tanks are drilled and are set up to the auto water change system. Otherwise this would be impossible. So I'm fortunate enough to have this on an auto water change system. And with that, let's get started. Starting with the newest rack here, we've got a tank of Roebuck Red Guppies. I started with a trio and a pair, and this is their quarantine tank. There's two nice males in here that are hiding. We got one in the back there. I'll probably just insert some footage that I took when they were not hiding, but this is their quarantine tank and they've exploded in here. I really haven't had guppies populate this much in the time that they're in quarantine, but these guys are not really eating their fry, which is great, probably because we have the floating water sprite in there that's helping out a little bit. Next up, we've got the Red Dragon Halfmoon Guppies. These were fresh imports that have been in quarantine for a couple weeks now. We've got a couple fry. The males look really, really good. They've got almost Dumbo ears to them. And the females look really good. Nice color on the tail. And they even have some black pectoral fins, which is nice. Here we've got some Miyuki Medaka rice fish. These are not the platinum ones. These are a different strain, and they really glow under the LED lights. They almost have like a blue hue to them. Very prolific, doing really well for me in this grow out tank. These are rare rice fish that are the same genus as the Blue Daisy's rice fish. I'm going to put the name here because I don't know how to pronounce it and I don't want to butcher the name on camera here. But these guys I've had for about a week, still in quarantine. And here's a tank of Blue Daisy's Ricefish Fry. Had two Java Moss clumps that I combined together, and these are all the babies that came out of that breeding. In this 10-gallon, we have some Pearlscale, Widefin, Blue Marble Angelfish. I got these at about dime size, maybe quarter size. They're in this quarantine tank, waiting for their bigger tank. That'll be part of the new rack. Doing well in here, putting on size, not fighting, which is always good. This next tank, we have a spawn of the blue Medaka rice fish. We'll see the adults in a little bit here. Nice size spawn. And if you look closely at the bottom, we've got some week-old Bristlenose Plecos. Half of them are blue-eyed lemons. The other half are Longfin Super Reds. This next tank, we have some regular Longfin Bristlenose. We'll see all the adults of these later on. But this was a huge spawn. The ones I have right now are giant. I only got them 3 weeks ago and they spawned in their quarantine tank. Nice size spawn. Already eaten the rapashi there. These guys are the silver-banded rice fish, the Medaka rice fish. I got a group of 6 here, and I got them very small. Usually I buy more than 6, but 6 was all that was available. Luckily we do already have fry growing out of these guys. You see the acrylic yarn mops here that we're trying to spawn them some more. And this tank here, we've got more Longfin Super Red Bristlenose, an older spawn. And the plant floating there is Pogostem and Sla's octopus. Below that row is this row of all Medaka rice fish, different strains that I'm working with. This first tank here is the orange Medaka rice fish. Nice breeding group. These are the first ones I got, so I have the most of them. Kept a lot of them back, selecting obviously for the most vibrant orange color. These are the adults of the blue Medaka rice fish I got from Aquatic Arts. You can see some of them, like the one right there and there, are picking up on camera the blue body. And these guys do have almost like a sparkle to the body. Doesn't show the best on camera. I gotta find a different camera that'll pick up the blue colors to their body. This tank with the Java Fern in it on the wood has what's left of my adult breeding group of the Miyuki rice fish. You can see we got a ton of babies from them, but unfortunately, slowly I've been losing the breeding group. I got them as full adults imported. Not sure if they're getting old or they're just having a hard time adjusting from import. I don't know what the water they came in as, but I'm glad that we have a bunch of their fry. I'm gonna keep a lot of them to get the next breeding group. This next strain is the Orange Lamaze. One of my favorites, but of course giving me a difficult time breeding. I just recently moved the clump of Java moss that was in here to another tank for those fry to hatch out. I wish it would show better on camera, but these guys definitely have that sparkle to the body. Really look good from the side view. These guys are all meant to be technically from the top-down view, so any strain that looks extra good from the side view, I definitely appreciate. This next strain I bought is the black Medaka rice fish. I know there's a bunch of different varieties of the blacks. These guys are really cool because they do have a black line from the top-down view. Some days the bodies are really dark, others are kind of light. Probably doesn't help that I have a black background in another tank. When the tank wasn't black, they were definitely darker. Next up, we have a tank where I'm trying to rehome the fish in here. This is a strain of guppies, the Nebula Steel Guppies. See, there's a nice male right there. Choosing to not work with this strain anymore, so I'm looking to rehome it. We've got some red ram's horn snails in here and some platinum rice fish. Next to them, we have the red cap kois of the Medaka rice fish. These guys are on the very bottom because they don't look too good from the side, but the top-down view with the orange cap to them and different patterns on the body of orange spots kind of reminds me of koi. Nice alternative to actual koi fish if you have a small tub or pond. Next to them we have my breeding group of albino Corys. Right now I'm just keeping them in this 10-gallon until we can upgrade them to a 20. I don't want to start cranking these guys out until my store opens, just because these would be strictly for the store, not really selling online. So if I bred a bunch of them, wouldn't make sense for me to house them. We're still a month or two from the store opening. These next two tanks are my Longfin White Clouds. The tank to the right is my selected breeders, the best of the best there, the ones with the longest fins. Chose both males and females with the long fins. And interestingly, when I do breed these guys, I get golds in this line, but none of them turn out to be longfin. So those golds were actually siblings of the fish in here. Thought that was interesting. I don't really breed this group. I'm just pulling the mop or the moss here from this group. Moving over to this rack, we have 10 gallons up top and a 5.5, and all these are 20 highs. In this top right tank, we have another strain of rice fish that I just got this week. Still recovering from shipping, doing really well though. I already see eggs in this algae mop mess that I left on purpose so that they would lay eggs in there. Didn't expect it to be this soon, so that's a good sign. To the left of those, we have an acrylic yarn mop that I made that has the fry of the Boesmani Rainbowfish. You can see they're really small. These guys are about a week old. They're all over the tank. They're eating Ceramicron, Hikari First Bites, and they're starting to take some live baby brine. These are some growouts of the black Medaka rice fish. Again, not looking too black, dark bodied, but they do have that line on the top of the head, which is pretty sure they were meant more for ponds. And we have some Panda Corys in here, growing those out to breed, hopefully. This next tank, we have another spawn of the Miyuki Medaka rice fish. Try to get as many mops as I could, as I saw the parents kind of either aging out or whatever issue they're having. Haven't been able to figure it out yet, but definitely have a lot of those. These are the fry of the silver banded rice fish. So we do have a decent number of them. I think I only have 2 females in the group, so the spawn's not as big. Probably going to keep a majority of these, grow them up to adults, and then really crank them out that way, just because my numbers are so low. This next tank is my tank of Misfit Guppies, mostly. I work with a lot of guppy strains, and any males that don't look like the strain that I'm selling make it in here. They're not deformed or anything. I mean, there are some deformed fish in here that I feel like I have to cull, but I feel bad doing it, so they get to live their life in this Misfit tank. And this next tank, this 5.5 gallon, is being prepped for some Celestial Pearl Danios to be put in, the mop with eggs on it. You can see there's a lot of mulm, and there's a ton of microorganisms in here that I think will be really good for the Celestial Pearl Danio fry. I'm jumping to the bottom row here while these guys are out and about. These are the Longfin Bristlenose that had fry in quarantine. They're still recovering from shipping. You can see that some of the fins are tattered. They came in really bad shape. I do have an unboxing video if you wanted to see how they came in. They came in really cold, and I threw them in this 20 gallon quarantine and meds, and they ended up having fry. Looks like one was still in the cave when I pulled all the fry out there, and that's fine. But these are really nice size. Glad to have them. These are my Red Koi Angelfish. Really high coverage, orange body. Not a lot of black or white. These are ones I'm trying to pick future breeders from. And obviously I'm selecting for the orange coverage. The new rack, I'm going to split these guys into a couple tanks. Obviously I don't think they're going to pair off with this many in here. They were split between these 2 tanks, and the emergency happened with the Plecos, so I put them all back in the same tank. Here we have my backup colony of the 24 karat gold guppies, which are the logo for the channel here. We've got some fry going. I have a lot of backups tanks of these now just because I almost lost this strain, so I definitely don't want that to happen again. These are not, top picks, but they're backup. Here we have a grow out of the blue-eyed lemon Plecos. You can see them feeding on this rapashi. I alternate between community, blend, spawn, and grow. These ones are the sellable size, the 1.5 inch, about 1 inch unsexed. These are some blue elephant ear strain guppies that I'm looking to rehome. They look really good from the top down view. These were also a fresh import, the parents were. And as they bred, I realized they weren't really breeding that true. So I was choosing to not work with them anymore. And we got a koi betta in there that's doing all right. And we got some Stir-by Corydoras in the back. If anyone is local to me in New Jersey and wants to take this whole colony, contact me. These guys are healthy looking. They're just not breeding what I want them to look like. So, they can use a new home. These two tanks are the first guppy strain that I started working with, the Platinum Dumbo Ear Red Mosaic Guppies. Looking at these tanks here, we've got Eco Complete, and I should have mentioned that earlier in this video. Almost all the tanks are Eco Complete substrate, and we've got a ton of Jungle Val that is really thick. If you kind of see the side view of that tank. What I do is usually I keep moving the breeders back and forth. So obviously we have this tank that's more full that I had moved all the breeders into. The females dropped, and I'll be moving them back, and then I alternate just so that we get some fry going, and the males that I want to breed, the females I want to breed are breeding. You can see we've got some males here with some nice Dumbo ears, which is what I'm selecting for in the platinum body. Females, I'm looking for blue tails, but I've also picked some females that have some more colors in the tail, like a red, and they kind of look like they are mosaic. These guys look good from the top-down view with those ears. Here we've got some bluegrass, big high dorsal. These are a fun strain to work with. It's not really available, and it's probably because this strain will throw some red males. Probably saw them in the Misfit Tank that we saw earlier. But other than that, this strain, is really good. I'd say probably 25% of the time the males have red in them. And I just pull them out early as soon as I see them coloring up. Still got a good number of them, and I'm sure as I work with them more and more and keep pulling out the red males before they get a chance to breed, that we'll just get less and less of those males. These don't look exciting right now. These are the blue dragon guppies. I got another recent import. Put a picture of what the male looks like because it looks like I lost the male. With fresh imports, I usually lose the breeders pretty soon, just because when they're imported from like Thailand and stuff, where they are raised in possibly brackish water, really high temperatures, they just don't do well when they come into the US. And in my water, that's not really hard at all. There's a random female guppy of a strain that I'm no longer working with, but she's just living in here right now. Gonna be moving another guppy strain into here at some point. Got some Longfin Calico Bristlenose Plecos growing out in here. And in the corner here we have some brine shrimp hatcheries. I feed live baby brine twice a day, so I hatch a lot of it for the fish room. Guppies love it, fry love it, adult fish love it. Moving over to this rack here. Almost exact same setup, except we've got a 40 breeder in the middle. Guess we'll start on the left here. We got some backups of the 24 karat golds and a random Medaka rice fish in there. These are some super Dumbo dragon guppies. We've got the Pogos Demoncellatus octopus, some lava rock, and some frogbit floating. You'll see these in most of the tanks. We'll get a better view of them from the top-down view, but these are makeshift floating rings that I made out of plastic straw to kind of keep the floating plants away from the front, so I could feed the fish without the food getting stuck on the floating plants, and also the light is let through so I could see the fish. These are some gold and standard Gardneri Killifish. The water level is low because one of the pictures, or two of the pictures, actually fell. One of them must have hit the bulkhead behind this tank and actually cracked the tank, so the top part is leaking. So it's fine at this water level, not leaking. So I'm just kind of waiting as I'm setting up the new tanks here and drilling. I got to drill a new 10-gallon. See if we could see any here. This is a Celestial Pearl Danio tank. Got a group of at least 10. I think I have 15 left. Of course, they're hiding. I have to put some footage here, but this cup with the Java moss in it is the cup that's going to go in that tank we saw earlier, the 5.5 gallon. That's where I'll hatch out the fry. This tank needs some new fish in it. I just moved some fish out. But we do have the dwarf chain sword and some pearlweed. That's got to grow in the back. I have to get the algae off that matin filter. Here we've got the first spawn I ever had of the Longfin super red Bristlenose. What's left of them. These are the ones I'm keeping to breed in the future. Always want to have backups, especially with these guys with long grow out time. I only have a pair right now, so I'd love to have a whole colony. And we have one random female guppy of the Red Dragon Halfmoons, hoping that she'll drop fry. The Red Dragon Halfmoons are another guppy strain that I'm waiting for the new rack to be set up. But in the meantime, I do want to start building the numbers, especially with the females being imports. I want to have as many fry grow up in my water as possible. And in this algae-covered tank, it's like that on purpose. I put a new batch of, my first batch of standard super red Bristlenose Plecos in here. They're about a couple days old. You can see some of them, they're probably all hiding in the coconut hut there. You can see how small they are. They still have the yolk sac. But they'll feed on this algae a little bit when they're ready to start eating. Below them are my albino red koi guppies. I got 2 trios imported, and majority of these are their fry. I think this female is the only one I have left of the original imports. You can see that she's not thriving, she's doing okay. She has the red ears, those pectoral fins there. Interestingly, none of the fry have the red ears. Still a really good looking strain. I'll just work with them as the albino koi guppies. We have the floating frog bit. We've got a random crypt up front with some pearlweed, some dragonstone. We have the floating frog bit covering most of the tank and in this hang-on breeder box. You'll see this method. I use this method a lot with my guppies. I'll put a female that I think is going to drop in the breeder box, especially with this strain because they love eating their fry. Previously, I had a breeder net in there with all the fry, and I had to keep them in there for like 2 or 3 weeks until they were big enough to not get eaten and they could fend for themselves. This next tank is one of my favorites. It has the Ilyodon furcidans, or the Trout Goodeid. I got these from Select Aquatics, Greg Sage. These are a live bearer. Really nice color on them. They do remind me of trout. So we just saw some males there. Here's the 2 females I have. And they are very large. Hoping that they drop fry again pretty soon. All these guys are the fry. They don't have as many fry at once like guppies do, but the fry actually are born very large, which is interesting. So we don't have to worry about them eating them so much. We have the female Longfin super red there. The male's probably in that cave over there. And I have some random red coral pencilfish in here. We've got this piece of manzanita wood that I got from Manzanita Direct. Really like the tree stump look. We got some Rotala species. I forget which one it is. And some dwarf chain sword that's making its way in the chain. Here we have the snow white guppies. These in the US, it's almost impossible to find females. Where are the males? They're hiding, of course. But you can get the males usually at Petco. But for some reason, there must be like a contract or something that they never sell the females. So I was fortunate enough to get a fry pack of these guys, grew them up, and finally we're starting to get fry. Again, same thing. This is dwarf sag, Pogostemus lost octopus again, and the frog bit floating frog bit in the breeder box here. Excited to get the numbers up in these guys. Here we have the Tuxedo Koi Guppies. These guys were a similar story to the Snow White Guppies, where I had bought a fry pack and had to grow them up. Ended up with 4 males and 1 female. Luckily that female did obviously have some fry and they're growing up. Something with this strain, I don't know what it is, very male heavy all the time. A lot of males in here, not a lot of females. So I haven't been able to offer these on the website yet because I don't have enough females. They're on the bottom because they look really good, the top-down view. Again, you can see the plastic straw set up there so that I can enjoy the view and feed them easily. This is my breeding pair of Philippine blue angelfish. I had to stop breeding them. I had so many. You know, I could keep breeding them when I have the store open, but you can definitely overbreed angelfish and have too many, you know, when you're selling only online. This is a nice pair. Lots of algae in this tank I gotta scrub. These are some fry of the Philippine blue angelfish. These guys look good. For some reason the color's washed out. I'm gonna have to see if it's because I just turned on the light on these guys. But interestingly, these guys don't have any, these are from the same spawn. These guys are all white and they don't have any stripes to them. I thought that they would develop as they got older. So not bad angelfish. They're not platinum, but they're just all white. You see we have some leftovers of the super reds. Those sold out pretty quickly. And over here we have the pearl Medaka rice fish. These guys are more, they have more variation to them. Some are more orange, some are more white. Got a good number of these guys. Moving over to this rack, in the top left corner here, we've got some Santa Claus guppies. These guys I've had for, I would say, almost a year and a half at this point. Wasn't getting fry from the 3 main females there, you can see them. Treated the tank, they had a Camellarus redworm, didn't realize, and once I treated, they dropped some fry. All that work and all that time invested, and they don't even breed true. These were really popular from Twin Cities Guppies and Aquarium Co-op, and you know, all of a sudden they kind of dropped off the channel. I think because they realized that they don't breed true, and it's unfortunate because I'll put a picture up. The males looked amazing. They had the white pectoral fins. Really, really nice guppy, but as you can see here, they don't breed true. And anytime I've bought them not imported, they look like these, like not like the smaller guppies. So I don't think anybody's having luck with them. These are some orange Australian killifish that I'm gonna try to give one last go at breeding this group before I completely get new stock. This was another fish that had Camellarus redworm. I don't know which of the two had it first, but maybe some water or some plants got over because they're right next to each other. Treated them, and they've been clean for about 2 months now. These guys are getting up in age, so I do want to give one last go, especially because with this strain here, we've got a female with some black on the body. Haven't seen that before. I want to hopefully continue that into the next generation, maybe work that into the females. Even though they look really good, they're a nice yellow color, and the males have a nice orange. My favorite killifish for sure, but I might have to start over with new stock because I wasn't getting luck breeding them. Here are some platinum Medaka rice fish, a strain that once I sell these, I'm not going to work with them anymore just because I have the Miyukis, and they just look so much better as a white fish than these guys. Still a good looking fish, just the Miyukis just, you know, outshine them. These are some Kohaku Swordtails that I got from an importer. They look really good. Gonna have these on the website pretty soon. Here are some fry of the Longfin white cloud minnows. The plant in the back there is sawtooth hydro. Got some cirrostone in here with the dwarf sag. There are some coolie loaches in here. You can see them kind of hiding, sticking out. They love going in between the cirrostone and the rockwork. These are the blue daisies rice fish. We've got some of my adult breeders in here mixed in with the very first spawn that I had. Started with a group of 12 of these. With my luck, I got 10 males and 2 females, so I had to breed the first group, keep a ton of females, and this is what I have now. And I bred them, and we saw earlier the fry. This 5.5 gallon, we have some fry of the orange lame Medaka rice fish. And you can see again with this spawn, not a lot of fry. And I have luck raising fry of other strains. This strain just, for some reason, not getting a ton of them. Still have to figure out why. I've dewormed the adults. I've treated them. I've let them sit. I separated them out. I've done so many things. I can't figure it out yet. These are the yellow tiger king cobra guppies. One of my favorites. Some of the males are getting kind of more black in the body, like that one right there. I really like that trait, and some of them even look like they have tiger stripes with how dark banded they are. They got some cherry shrimp in here. This is bulbitis on this. It's overgrown now, you can't see it. It's a nice, almost like a bonsai tree. These are my breeding adults of the Boesmani Rainbowfish. These happen to be Gary Lang's strain. Really like these. The males are actually, believe it or not, pretty washed out now because we are at the end of the day here. In the morning, they're really dark and look amazing. And we also have my breeding group of the standard fin super red Bristlenose. You can see one hiding there on the wood. And we have Jungle Val in this tank, Cirrostone. Again, more eco-complete. This is one of my most popular strain of guppies on the website, the Japan Blue Gold Double Sword Guppies. So I've really been focused on cranking these guys out. You can see the really big ones in here are my breeders. See that nice male there with the double sword. Female's got a nice gold body. And some new fry in the hang-on breeder box here. Any fry that are born here are taken out by the giant females, unfortunately. And these bottom tanks, this 75, at the beginning of quarantine, like right at the beginning of March, I was planning on going to my spring local fish club spring auction and donating all these fish in here because I have plans to redo this whole tank and do new fish. This was a barb tank. Now I just have everything that I'm trying to donate. We've got rainbow fish in here, barbs, some Bristlenose of a different strain that I found that when they bred just weren't as nice as the ones that I got recently. Some Anubias here, you can tell how long it's been there by how it's grown on the Dragonstone. The roots that are here, all in this tank, are actually pothos plant that goes all the way up the back and up around the fish room. So really sucking out the nitrates, helping me keep the tank clean. But again, if someone's local to me in New Jersey, you want some rainbows, there's a giant roseline shark in there, some barbs, some Bristlenose. You can swing by and take these guys off my hands since I can't really, it's been, 8-9 months now in quarantine. Really can't do anything with this tank until get rid of these guys. And these two 10 gallons on the bottom are going to be where I'm going to breed the killifish. So they're empty right now. And this final rack here, we'll kind of start in the middle here because there's the activity there and while everybody is out. This tank, this 40 breeder, we have my main colony of the 24 karat gold guppies. We also have my breeding group of the standard finned blue-eyed lemon plecos. And we have 4 grow outs of the Longfin blue-eyed Bristlenose plecos. You can see there's a bunch of fry in this tank. One of my favorite tanks. Unfortunately, I need to put this breeder net in here for the females. This strain is the ultimate fry eater. They will chase down and eat every fry in the tank. You won't get any fry if you just have them in a regular setup. Even with all these plants in here and all the cover, I had it completely overtaken. They would find the fry and eat them. So I dropped the females in the breeder net. We have a recent drop in there. The only way to get my numbers up for this strain. We have Crypt When Deadeye red or bronze in the front here. Some Water Sprite, some Willow Hygro. Here's one of my guppies that I'm most excited about. These are the Vienna Guppies from Aquarium Co-op. A fan was nice enough to trade guppies with me. They lived local to Aquarium Co-op. I sent them some of my guppies, and they sent back some Vienna Guppies they picked up from Aquarium Co-op. Super excited to have these guys. If you're interested in them, you can go on the website and put your email in to be notified when they go in stock. I haven't listed them yet. I'm trying to get the numbers up. I have a nice large female in this hang-on breeder box. Hopefully she drops pretty soon. This plant in here is a hygro species. I believe it's Polysperma green. And we have the dwarf sedge. We have some yellow Neocaridina shrimp in here. This tank has an auto feeder that feeds it 4 times a day on top of my live baby brine feeding twice a day. Because again, I was running into issues where they were eating the fry. And over on this side, we have some Panda Guppies. Person I got them from Lucas Bretts on YouTube. Really nice strain. What's nice about these are the females have more of a darker body, and if they would hold still, you could see they have the long dorsal fin there. Some of them do. Occasionally they'll come out plain like that one, but a lot of them are getting dark body. That's what I'm selecting for. The females that I really like, I'm moving over into this breeder box, letting them drop their fry, making sure that those fry of those particular females are the ones that are having the babies. Any fry born in here again are automatically eaten. I feel bad, but you can see the large drop. This is one drop in this box here, maybe 30 or 40. They look really good from the top-down view. They were in a pond setup when I did get them. And on this top row, we have an older spawn of the Boesmani Rainbowfish. These guys are about 2 months old. Rainbowfish are really slow growers. Here we have some short body Medaka rice fish that I pulled from my orange line. Wasn't sure if I was able to breed these guys just because they're deformed, but we do have short body versions of mollies and rams and all, even grammies at this point. So I pulled these guys aside. They're not thriving, so I don't know what we're going to be able to do with them, but they're separated for right now. They don't have to compete with the normal bodied fish. Here's my breeding group of the yellow Neocaridina shrimp. You can see we have all adults and no babies. It's just because I had some 24 karat gold guppy fry in here. I like to throw random fish in the shrimp tank when I have seed shrimp outbreaks, especially the 24 karat golds, in hopes that one of the fry ends up being female, and that female grows up without getting hit by any males, and then I can select which male that female breeds with. But I had 2 fry in here. Both of them ended up being male, so they just got moved out. so these guys can breed again without fish. I'm sure that they were eating the shrimplets. Here we have my breeding group of the orange shrimp. Doesn't look like there's a lot in here. They like to hide and hang out, and the Pocostemistlas octopus only come out when I put food in there. These are some black Corydoras that I'm growing out and hoping that they will breed for me. They're not really readily available in the US. I heard from some of you guys in other countries they're at your local pet store, which is awesome. And we do have a female 24 karat gold guppy that I was able to separate. She did grow up in a tank alone, and I put her with one male, the best male I had, so if she has any fry, they'll be separated because they are from two guppies that I deem to be, you know, of high quality. Here's my tank of blue velvet shrimp. Hard to see on the Eco Complete. We do have a good number of them in here. Lots of babies. Unfortunately, I did get snails in this tank. I really tried to not have any, but you know, that happens. And this tank's just getting ready to drop some moss of an egg layer. I don't know if it's going to be white clouds or rice fish. Always working on breeding projects. And this last bottom row here, we have 2 empty 10 gallons that again we're going to move some moss to with some egg layer fry to grow out in. But this 75 is where I keep and grow out the angelfish that I'll plan on breeding. I just put some food in so everybody would sit still. We've got a couple different strains in here. We've got the Peruvian Ultim angelfish, which are the striped ones there. Got a couple of those. Got the Platinums. And we've got some black Paraibas. And we let the jungle val go crazy in here. It provides some hiding spots for the angelfish if they get aggressive with each other. We have one random Philippine blue angelfish that came with the Peruvian Ultims as a mistake. That's alright, it'll diversify the gene pool. That's a nice fish there. And we do have a clouded archerfish in here. It's 100% freshwater archerfish. He's really cool. I want to put some driftwood in this tank. The water line is low because I was unable to drill the 75s just because I was getting a lot of them that were tempered, even though I was told they weren't. I got tired of cracking 75, so I did the PVC overflow method so that it could still be hooked up to the auto water change, but it does keep the water line lower than the max line. So probably gonna put some driftwood that'll hang out the top, maybe put some crickets in there for the archerfish to shoot them down and eat them. I think that'd be cool to see.